Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors' past performance. It's not necessarily indicative of future results. Yeah, good morning, everybody. I guess I'm behind a little bit again today, 20 seconds, but we're okay. Already seeing a bit of action here, like just in the 20 minutes or so that I've had the DOM open here. I can see it moving around quite a bit. By the way, does the microphone sound okay to you guys today? I used it for something else yesterday and I reconnected it and it doesn't sound the same. I think that the volume is just different, but I'm like, oh, my voice is so much louder. And when nothing's going on, I can see noise on the thing. So if there's like noise, let me know. Anyways, we are significantly lower. Well, I don't want to say significantly, but we were above 128 before, now we're below it. And it appears, Uzi says, yeah, so I think that means that it's okay. Anyways, Mnuchin said, we're 90% of the way on a trade deal. That's total bullshit. Technical term. Today's goal is to not swear, okay? But good grief. That is total nonsense. All right? They're not 90% of the way on a trade deal. China reneged on literally everything, and they've been saying that they don't want to come back. I think that headline is complete nonsense. Trump-China deal must have intellectual property protection and opening of China market. And they move up a little bit. Too late, laugh. Right? Now the thing that's going on though is all the headlines are coming out. Did you guys watch this action? It was about I'm gonna say it was about noon Eastern time, between noon Eastern time and the close. The options pit close. China deal must see, they're buying it because Donald Trump is putting the kibosh on it. I'm not sure this is something actually I can. Damn it. Come on. I watched it. It was nutsoids, right? We had like headline after headline push us one way and the other way. Correction, Mnuchin said we are about 90% of the way on a China trade deal. An earlier headline said the deal is 90% of the way. Yeah, I don't know, man. But I'm going to try that. We're in an acceptable place to short it. The Treasury is kind of in a spot though that I find it hard to participate. They could maybe go up to 128 again though. No, don't go up. Trump says he would do additional tariffs if there is no trade deal with China. It's possible the U.S. will reach a trade deal with China, but happy with where things are now. Is he speaking live? Maybe I shouldn't have taken that because I didn't realize that he was like possibly still on television. Uzi says you actually traded it. I actually traded it too. I can show you here. I mean, I took some sim trades. I was dinking around. I was helping John fix an indicator, which, by the way, you can go and find on the futures.io forum. He went and posted it for us. So, yeah, if I change this and show yesterday's trades, I took 3 trades in ZN and made a few ticks on all of them. Anyways. Well, that kind of moved against me, but then came back. But it's obviously, I guess maybe the FOMO was unjustified. It was pretty nuts though, right? I like his word. I like your word, oozy nutsoids. It really was like, oh my gosh. It was starting to make me sick. Because it was just all over the place. And then we come out and they're doing it again. But when I see that, it makes me think people are trying to manipulate news headlines. You know what I mean? Trump says U.S. has had conversations with China over the last few days on trade. Well, that is good. But I really do not think that this trade deal is any closer than it was, what was it? I don't remember. What is it called? It is cumulative delta momentum, I believe, or delta momentum. I don't think it's cumulative delta, it's delta momentum. So it'll show the charts, like the bars momentum. And then when you have a negative momentum bar, it goes back to zero and then it goes the other way. So you'll see it move up a little bit and then move down a little bit. But it only works if you have the NinjaTrader 8 license. So that's kind of a key thing. Trump says China wants to make a deal more than the United States. See, now he's just kind of... I think it might be in the elite members section. He made a thread. Where was the thread? Bum, 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 bum. Saw a little move there out of the corner of my eye. Here it was. Dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. There you go. No, I don't think it's in the elite members section. It's just in the NinjaTrader 8 indicators and more section. Yep, there's the link. Did it post it to you guys there on YouTube? No, it didn't. No. There it is. Did I not like it? Man. It won't let me paste it into YouTube. What happens if I just do this? Trump says if he decides to place additional tariffs on Chinese products, it could be 10%, not 25%. It just doesn't like me posting a link. Well, it's there if you go to Futures.io and you go to the NinjaTrader 8 indicators and more section, you will find it. Kind of pretty sporadic trading in the E-mini here, actually. So, I don't know. Treasuries. Okay, so now we've got some news coming up here, right? It's the durable goods. Okay. Well, E-mini's not really reacting to it. Treasuries, we're getting a lot of volume. Preliminary durable goods orders, -1 spot 3 versus negative spot 2. Does look like the treasuries are going to move up on that. There we go. about the other numbers. So core durable goods is spot 3 versus spot 1. That was core durable goods is -1 spot 3. So which one is... Okay. So when you include transportation items, it's really bad. Goods trades balance -74 spot 5 versus 71 spot 8, and preliminary wholesale inventories is spot 4 versus spot 6. That inventories one is bad. Bad thing. So it's interesting. Mnuchin came out overnight, and then now we have Donald Trump talking. You know what? I need to turn this on. It's, it kind of seems like, again, that the administration is like all hands on deck to try and save the economy sort of thing. Like, I think that the move they saw the other day kind of scared them. But I don't think that that's a reason to buy. I mean, like, everything that they're saying is kind of like nothing that we've heard before, I'm on the page. I see it in recently added, but it says for elite members only. Oh, really? Can probably paste it in Discord or something. Okay, hold on. I got some food here. I should take a bite or two here so that I can get rid of that. Okay. Donald Trump probably just said the most funniest thing market related that he's ever said. Trump says the U.S. should have Draghi instead of quote unquote our Fed person. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up. That is biting. That is like, oh, we should have Draghi instead of, and he calls him our Fed person. Our Fed person. The most biting thing he could say. Wow. That is, man. I am highly entertained by that comment from him. Good grief. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself again. That is just hilarious. Dennis, I like you. I retweeted your comment there. Dennis pointing out that Draghi's term is up in 2020, so he might be available. You know, we could make him a U.S. citizen and do it. Let's do it. I'm Draghi for Fed chair. I am all in. I'm all in. We have to tell Wall Street bets. Mm-hmm. Oh, we need a flare. It's a shit post. There we go. Come on, just 2 more and we get our first fill. Come on. You can do it. You can do it, little E-mini. Here we go. We'll see where that goes. Okay, so we did get our first fill. So we should move this. And I think that, well, 50 would be great. I think we could feasibly go for the low of the day. I don't know. The thing is if we get it, it's probably more likely to come down to here. We'll just see. All right, we'll just see. Okay, so anyways, Donald Trump. Trump says U.S. is in discussions with Vietnam on trade. Vietnam treats the U.S. worse than China. Now that's an interesting comment too. I'm just noticing something a little different today. The correlation between the E-mini and the Treasury has returned back to what it normally will be. So the Treasuries tick up and the equities tick down. I'm actually, in many cases, seeing the Treasuries make the move first. I think that this is all in line with what we should expect to be seeing in a situation like this. Overall, I'm pretty happy with my position. It was a little questionable there, but you know, we toughed it out. And just I want to be careful about if things get too crazy. Right now, though, it looks like they want to go for lows of the day. Probably. FX Macro says, just picture him doing this call in his bedroom suite in his underwear. So he is calling in, is what he's saying. They were also saying, is he slurring his speech? He is saying some pretty wild stuff. But that is what he does. The Trump US should be suing Facebook and Google. Perhaps we will. Hey, you know what? I am all on board for that. What we have learned about Google, I mean, granted, I pretty much assumed that was what was going on anyways, but now that it's out there, absolutely appalling and unacceptable. The United States should sue them, or legal action should take place. And yeah, that kind of talk is very bad for markets because those tech companies are some of the leaders. So this is going to really kill the S&P. President Trump talking on EU antitrust. US should... Never mind. They're still just talking about Facebook. Zero's Edge says an absurd fiasco entire market spike was due to a CNBC grammatical mistake. So I'm a little confused on that one. Can somebody help me here? Because it seems to me that what he said, or rather, the actual headline versus what CNBC put out are no different. They were trying to say that a trade deal is looking good, but you know, it doesn't help because it's total nonsense. Aren't they being sued already for antitrust infringements? Yeah, you know, I forget. I do remember hearing about that. Excuse me. I do remember hearing that, but or that the United States was gearing up. I don't think that they've actually done anything, though, right? Now, yes, the Wall Street Journal reminding us that tonight is the Democrat debate. I am going to try and stream a live reaction while we're doing it. I can't include the actual debate audio or video in my stream, so you're going to have to like start up the NBC stream and then start up my stream. And we should be able to do it that way, which kind of sucks for if you're watching it on replay, but that's the best that we can do. So if you guys are going to be watching online and you would like somewhere to hang out and, you know, talk and have fun, please join us. Okay, I'm noticing, that's kind of interesting. When I look at this market action on my Vista chart, it's starting to look a little bit, what is the word? Exponential. Starting to look a little exponential. It's kind of got a nice little curve to it, but I don't see that when I look at my tick chart. So I guess that means that we're getting a steady trickle of volume and market movements, but they're simply starting to happen faster and faster. To the moon. Okay, so they did a little turn there. And the treasuries came back quite a bit. Rand Squawk, anyone know what brand of coffee Trump drinks? He's on fire this morning. Trump says we may need legislation to spur competition in technology industry. And it's kind of funny because he's saying a lot of things that I kind of agree with, but there are a bunch of things that are not good for the market. By the way, I have some messages here to check. Okay. This is kind of weird. These guys saying that the market jumped on fake news. I don't see it. Well, first of all, we didn't really move that much. Was it 232 when Mnuchin's move came out? Maybe that was it. But the corrected headline isn't that different, and I don't think would have changed anything. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Algo's going wild trying to trade on everything Trump is saying. Oh, you know what? I did not take that one on the account that I wanted to. Well, it's okay. It was a good trade, though. Trump is still talking with Maria on Fox Business. Well, I guess I could. Sure. Cool. So I took 30 off of that. Just in case. Scaramucci warns Iran to cut tensions with the United States. I'm not sure that the Treasuries can continue forward for the time being. They got a little bit too excited at 30.5 and got stopped. So maybe this is going to be more of a pullback. Daniel Dell. Here's Trump's public schedule. 10:40 a.m. President arrives at Washington Marriott. Oh. Nothing until 11 o'clock. So he could sit here and shitpost with Maria for the next 2 hours if he wanted to. Oh. Zero Hedge says this is better than James Joyce. Did you guys see that interview? The lady that accused Donald Trump of raping her. And she's on television with Anderson Cooper, right? And she's like, what did she say? Most people think of rape as sexy? Like, what the heck? It was, and the whole lead up into her saying that was the most bizarre thing I think I've ever seen on television. And Anderson, you could just see the look on his face. It was like a deer in the headlights. He was like, we got to get off air like right now. It was absolutely hilarious. I showed that to my wife last night and she thought it was really funny. I think that Wall Street Bets just isn't awake right now because there's not much activity on my shitpost. So, oh well. $26. I need to change that. Hey, CNBC, there's not going to be a deal. Shut up already. Oh, I don't see it anymore. Maybe... Maybe it broke the rules. This was hidden as it looks like a low quality meme. Yes, I'm going to... Trump says, I hope we don't have a war with Iran. Any war with Iran would not last long. Oh, man. I wonder if it's just because it detected that it was Twitter or something like that. Maybe if I had done it as a picture, it would have done it differently. US stock futures trim gains, but still higher. They really consider 2 points up trimming gains, huh? You must really be desperate for headlines. Why would anybody watch CNBC if they can watch Trump live stream of consciousness on Fox Business while being questioned by Maria, right? Trump, okay with me if China trade tensions impact the oil market? Treasuries look like they're going to try and break out here. See if they can do it. Chinese President Xi's translator watching this interview, and it's got a picture of a guy just sweating profusely. Might as well buy some oil now. This whole thing is just... Already right here, huh? Treasuries, they gonna do it? They gonna get back to 128 even? And hold it? It looks like they're kind of having a little bit of trouble getting there. There's the uptick. Okay, finally took in the 5-year. I'm not hitting into evens though. It's a good bid though. It's probably going to. I'd be really surprised if they didn't. Trump concludes his interview. Okay. So we can get back to business as usual? Hopefully we can get back to selling it. Fingers crossed. I know that whole episode to me is like more evidence that Donald Trump is ADHD. That's what I really think. I really think that he's ADHD. Chinese diplomats look to Europe ahead of Xi-Trump trade showdown at G20. And Treasuries having a hard time holding 128 even. market implications for removing Fed Chair Powell. Well, listen, if we remove Fed Chair Powell, and you wouldn't remove him, you'd got to get him to resign probably. But let's say he resigns and we replace him with Draghi. That's a net positive for the markets, guys. Come on. Draghi's easy. That's all there is to it. A bit like you, absolutely. I totally, I 100%. The reason why I believe that Donald Trump is ADHD is because I'm ADHD, and some of his thought processes mirror things that I hear going on in my head. It just seems like he's much more severe and completely lacks any ability to filter what actually comes out. But like when people say that his thought process doesn't make sense and they're confused by the way that he says things and stuff like that, it makes sense to me because that's the way I think. In fact, I was always told like if I go to the ADHD clinic or ADHD websites or stuff like that, and there's always a poster that's like, here are famous people that had ADHD to say that even if you have ADHD, you can be successful. And Donald Trump was always on that list. So I'm convinced that he is totally ADHD. He's also probably sleep deprived, but so then when you're sleep deprived, your ability to regulate yourself is going to be even less. So you combine ADHD and no sleep, and then you put this guy on television, you get what just happened there. Well, it looks like my spot didn't hold very well. May it continue to just move up until the open, just as kind of like gentle mean reversion. So does that mean that I should just dump this? I don't know. The other thing is that the treasuries did come back, but they're still like within the range, within the area, and I really think that they're going to want to make it back to 128. So I do think that we could get another impulse, but it might not happen until long after. Well, not long, but it might not happen until after the equity market opens. So I do think I probably need to think about cutting this one loose. Acting U.S. Defense Secretary warns Turkish counterpart of consequences if Ankara acquires Russian air defense system. This is same headline from yesterday, right? Okay. So there's an iceberg going on here at 31. In the 10-year. Seen quite a bit of stuff placed like really far out, by the way. There's some big asks placed way, way up there above us. It's kind of weird that YouTube won't let me post links. Like I thought that it still allowed the person that was streaming to do that, but apparently not. Well, that was really fun when he was talking, but now that he's stopped, it's really boring. And the treasuries really are getting rejected at evens. Although, I don't know. Interest has really waned here in the treasuries for some reason. China feels out how Europe will respond if talks with Trump break down. So they're saying China is hedging for if talks break down to see if if Europe will help him out. Okay, so that time they had a little bit of a fell at 30.5, but then when they sold into 30, there's some iceberging there. I'm very curious. I can see something maybe happening in the equities indexes now. And quite a bit of back and forth here at 29.30.75. Good morning, Ace. Man, you missed Donald Trump was talking earlier, and he said so many crazy things, and the market was moving off of it, and it was really fun. And I took a short, and it was a good short, but I didn't take it live. I took a short in the E-mini, made some good money, and then I waited for it to come back, and I took it again, and now this one's not going so well. I think I'm going to get stopped out here after that little impulse. Saw that drop at 618. Good job, yeah. I felt like that one was an easy trade, although I'm surprised how much it's come back. Well, that sucks. But it happens. Oh, so it was right at about 32.50 that I took that one. Well, I remember that ended up not being the right spot, right? So it just kind of chilled. The thing is, the market has really, the treasury market has done like a complete 180. So they were having a really strong trend up. You can really see it on my tick charts. Really strong trend up. And then it looked like, oh, okay, this is just a pullback. But then they did fail. And look at my action over here. See over here? Where's all this action over here? And now, after this, nothing. No real interest. Got a screwy schedule for a bit of summer school. Gotcha. So I'm not, well, thank you for tuning in, Ace. I don't know if we have anything too interesting to talk about right now. Well, I see equity is having a little bit of a struggle here. I think. Oh, wait a second. Okay. Weird. Do you day trade Bitcoin? No, I would not recommend day trading Bitcoin, but we do have, you can't even see the chart right now, but we do keep an eye on it for you Bitcoin guys, Bitcoin futures. By the way, when you're looking at the Bitcoin futures, it really looks like they're trying to sell it here. It looks like they're still moving up. So it's kind of interesting. Hu Shijin. Hu Shijin. How'd my account... So who's this guy? He says he had his Twitter account verified. I don't know though. I don't think we're on a bubble. Well, so if you look in the links that I have down in the description, Swarmus, I have a chart that I post every day. And that chart is an attempt to indicate when Bitcoin is in a bubble. And it's based on transactions on the blockchain. Like he's saying, halving. It should be there in the description. Let's see here. Yeah, so you see the Patreon link in the info. Just click the Patreon link in the info there, and you can see the charts. I post it every day, and then subscribers get to see it immediately, and everybody else can see it a week later. So if you start scrolling down, you'll be able to see what the indicator has been doing, but you just can't see what it's been doing this past week. And this, because it's based on blockchain transactions, that theoretically should account for things like the blockchain halving, for instance. But what it seems to indicate is that price is really getting ahead of itself when you compare it to transactions on the blockchain. Basically, what has happened is they've just been buying it up, and that money is like staying on the exchange essentially. Like it's not making it to the blockchain at least. They're not like taking it off the exchange and putting it in a wallet and then, sending that to a different exchange and buying an altcoin or actually buying things with it, That's what happened 2 years ago. Well, I think to some extent that's true. So you can open that link up, but I can actually just show it to you here too. I'll just show you the other days. Okay. So 2 years ago, they kind of got ahead of themselves, like a bubble right here. And that was when we peaked. So indicator gave you a pretty good sell signal, right? And look at these other ones. Sell. Mount Gox right there. What do you call this? The head fake, the bear rally, whatever. Anyways, last time we were in that bubble, many transactions weren't reaching the blockchain. I think what you're referring to is that the blockchain got super swamped and you couldn't even make transactions. Yeah, I mean that certainly happened too. But what I'm saying is a little bit different. What I'm saying is that you're seeing price move up and you're seeing a lot of activity on the exchanges, but when you look at the actual amount of money that's being transacted on the blockchain, it's not that much. Now, I think that they tend to do that. I think that it's you buy it up and you buy it up until it starts to pick up, until people start to notice. And then the momentum should carry it further, is the theory. So it's you spend some money putting it into Bitcoin, intentionally moving price up so that you can attract other buyers, right? But the difference this time is this thing right here. So this plateau, before we failed 6K, it was saying that we were way overbought for a really, really long time. And then finally they did give in. But then after they gave in, we just turned right around on a dime and we're right back to some of the most overbought levels we've ever had. Now, we can get to 250, I think. So it's not like this can't go further. It's just a little alarming to me. We're already more overbought than we were over here, and we're not as high. It's a divergence in my indicator that I've never seen before. And so what I would expect to happen, and I'm just guessing based off of what the indicator has done in the past, but I think that what you can see happen is they'll probably make another push or two. And then probably then that's the top. So the way that I would look at this is what's your risk reward, right? When it's down here at 50, goodbye. Good risk reward. When we're over 100, when we're, close to 200, risk reward, not very good. Now, the thing that would change my indicator and allow them to move higher is more transactions on the blockchain, essentially. So that's why I'm saying, for instance, if we saw some transactions on the blockchain and then we saw altcoins start to move up and Bitcoin price still held, then that I think would be a much more positive sign. But as it is right now, I'm really skeptical about how much further it can really go. I think 12K is pretty good, or is that's 200, right? So I know some people have been saying, 15 and then all-time high. Well, to get to an all-time high, you would be reaching some of the most overbought levels we've ever had. According to this indicator, which, it's kind of funny because it's historically, it's been very, very good. Historically, it's been very, very good at determining when it's going to come down or not. And now it's like they don't care. Right? It worked really good through most of that bear market, but now it's having trouble. Well, I don't like what just happened there in the E-mini while we were talking. It's a little bit of buying. Seeing some divergences. Almost all altcoins are up. Ethereum is up 11% in the past 24 hours. Okay. Yeah, there has been some movement overnight, but Bitcoin moved too. I'm gonna have to wait until then the next data point on my thing. Anyways, all I'm saying is I'm probably not a very good risk reward position right now. Because you're talking about, you can buy it at $12.50 and you can maybe make $1,500. Is that really worth it when you're considering that your risk to the downside is probably 80%? Like when you're probably too late to buy on. Exactly. So I can't say that it's like a top. I can't say like you should short it here. Man, it's too hard to short. I've just learned it's just too hard to pick a price to short until you're already getting some down momentum. So I don't think you could say you could short it, and it's really hard to pick a specific price that it's going to stop at. But yeah, I wouldn't be buying in here. I bought when it was around 6K. Okay. Yeah, see, the thing that frustrates me about it is that I was waiting. I was like, okay, it's still overbought. This 6K probably shouldn't hold because the indicator says that it's overbought. So they're going to fail it. So they did fail it. And then it stopped at like 3K. And the indicator was saying that like the good buy location was going to be more like 1 to 2K. And didn't even get that far. So I never got a buy signal. And then it's gone up without me, So that's really frustrating. I said that about 11K that I would wait for it to go down. Says Roy Triple, by the way. Good. Welcome to the stream. 2 new guys in the stream. I like it when we get people on Twitch. I stream to both Twitch and YouTube. Oh, here's the open here. Probably should, unless we get a big sell impulse here. I might want to dump this. Okay. So some selling, but not a ton. I hate it when it does that at my price. Okay. So there's a bit of an iceberg there in the E-mini. Do you do any Forex trading? No, I mostly stick to the futures. If you want to day trade, I would really recommend that you take a look at the futures. And I think in the past, a lot of smaller traders have dismissed the futures because there's a lot of expenses involved in it, and you really need to have a big account. But now that we have these micro E-mini contracts where it's basically $1 a tick, there's some really good opportunity there. So there was a sweep down there, but there's some big buy icebergs. So that's curious. Anyways, you get more leverage when you're trading with futures. And the big thing, see, I don't like that. Don't like how quickly it comes back up there. The big advantage in futures is that you can see the order flow. Like I can see where all the bids and offers are. I can see all the volume. In Forex, you don't even get volume, which is insane to me. I just can't imagine. How can you trade without seeing the volume? It's not okay, in my opinion. But I know a lot of people do it, and I know that you can be successful doing it. I had a friend that did really, really well in Forex. He bought his car. He bought a brand new car with the money that he made from Forex. And he borrowed that money too, which is crazy. Like that, it was a really reckless thing that he did, but he got away with it. Well, I think that might be it for me, guys. Yeah. So bonds and T-bills, yeah. So this is the 10-year Treasury. This is the one that I like to trade the most. But now that we have these micro futures, I really like to trade the E-mini when I can, when I see an opportunity. I find it harder to see opportunities in the indexes because they're so random. Uzi says we can't tell what you're doing anyways. Man. I'm trying to make what I do in Treasuries really clear to people so that if you're watching like day after day, you get a good idea of what I think is a buy and what is not. But maybe I'm just too random and my emotions is just too good. Am I cutting out in and out? Oh, I'm on the wrong screen again. That's a good point. Thank you. Okay, so there was a pretty good impulse up and we came back here. But now, once again, it seems like there's some orders trying to hold it here around 29.31. This has been for 20 minutes. God, you guys are supposed to catch this sort of stuff. Now I feel dumb. You know what? That's okay. I feel dumb every day. I'm gonna just go to YouTube. Yeah, that's the one way to do it. I like having people from Twitch because I like, kids. So if you're watching on Twitch, go ahead because here's the thing: there's really no advantage to watching it on Twitch versus YouTube or YouTube versus Twitch because the robot should send the messages over. Does it maybe not do that anymore? Maybe it doesn't. I guess it doesn't. Maybe I need to go back and turn that back on or something. But I can see all the messages from everywhere. Yeah, Swarms is from Twitch, yeah. I can see here, I'll show you. It shows me all of the messages and it gives me a little icon based on which one it was. Well, I'm a little unhappy that they had a buy there or a sell there and it didn't go very far. I really don't want to be in this trade anymore because it's the open and the open is crazy and my probability falls a lot, but I'm kind of in this, like, I have a hard time doing anything because, it could do anything in here. It's just that your mic was like cutting off and on Twitch. So it was only doing it on Twitch, but it wasn't doing it on YouTube? That's kind of odd. I was thinking maybe it's just, I didn't have the volume as quite as loud as I normally do, so maybe my compressor was too aggressive on it. What if I do that? Does that sound okay? I turn it up a little bit. Here it goes. This is going to stop me out. Yeah. I'm not sure it wasn't on your YouTube at the time. Oh, okay. But it sounds okay now. Oh, 9 Films is Swarm. I got you. Okay, so yeah, so it took me out. But it's not doing it now. Okay. Well, that one kind of sucked. I think that when I took that initial trade, that I had something going for me on it. But I held it too long. And I guess it's okay for me to try and see if they get a sell impulse, but it just didn't come out. So that happens. So what are treasuries, futures, like T-bills and stuff? Yes, exactly. So the reason I like to trade the treasuries is, especially this one right here, ZN, is what the symbol is. It's the 10-year Treasury future. Most liquid instrument in the world, aside from euro dollars, which is unique and doesn't count, right? But you can see here they're offering 5,000 contracts at some prices compared to 300 over in the S&P 500 mini futures. So when you see volume and you see spots, it's much more clear what they're doing, and the signals have a better chance of following through, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not really getting... There was a little bit of activity right here. Oh, I guess it was at 27.5, so they might actually turn here in the Treasuries. I'm not super confident on that, though. I don't like the first 15 minutes of the Treasury or the equity markets open is even the first 15 to 30 minutes is a spot where I often try and stay out. Okay, so something just happened there. Equities really pushed. I generally have no idea when I'm like, oh yeah, sure, no, totally. Yeah, so one of the reasons why I like to stream and why I like it when we get people off of Twitch is because I think that this is a really important side of the market that most people aren't aware of. And I really don't see how people day trade without it. So what you're looking at here is the blue columns are bids and the red columns are offers, right? So what that means is somebody has put an order in to limit buy at that price, right? So there are 5,000 orders looking to get filled to buy at 127.24.5 right there, right? 5,000. And then same here on the sell side. There's an offer at 127.29 even of 4,576 contracts looking to sell. Right? With me so far? Now, the two columns on the inside are the market orders hitting those bids and offers, right? 125 have bought into that offer right there, right? 1,990 have sold. Okay? So it took about 4,000 and wow, which is a lot, by the way. 4,000 is a lot. And then it ticked down, and when it ticked down, they added 2,700 on the offer, which is also a lot and is also significant. And I'm just looking here. I'm seeing some asks at 15, some really far away ones. Oh, here we are, 31.5. They added a little bit. That's interesting. It's hard for me to make a strong conclusion off of what just happened there. But that could maybe continue lower. I'm not sure. It's interesting what the E-mini is doing here. I'm kind of tempted to sell the E-mini here again, but if I take that one and it doesn't work out, then I'm done for the day. Yeah, so anyways, and then this column is just the price, right? And then this column to the left with the numbers is like the total amount of volume that is traded there, so that we can do volume market profile kind of stuff. So the way that I use that is if we have a distribution, if we have a distribution here and we have a distribution here at the open. So if we fail this part of the range and we come back into it and stay here at 29.33 for a long enough time, we're pretty likely to trade to the other side of that profile. So this is how you make a living. Now, I have a day job. I'm a computer programmer, And I traded like really small account, like literally the smallest you can do. So like right now I only have like $500 in my account. And that's why I'm only trading the micros. And I'll take simulated trades over here in the 10-year. But summer action, it tends not to be very good for me. So not putting very much risk on right now. Anyways, so then the other thing is this one is the 5-year, 10-year, 30-year, and then this one is the S&P 500 futures, and then this one is the micros. So generally I want to watch over here, and then I'll place my trades over here. I am awfully tempted to sell it, but I don't think I'm getting it clear enough. They did kind of die down there when they touched that high. When it touched 29.37, there was a kind of a decrease in interest. Anyways, so the nice thing about trading this way, well, now I have more stuff to look into, yeah. So the place that I would go to is No BS Day Trading. That's where I learned kind of the signals and stuff, but a lot of it is you just have to watch. And that's the real disadvantage to this method of trading. It's very complicated. It's very subjective and discretionary. And it takes a lot of work to get good at. You have to come in and sit and look at it every day for years. And I would probably expect that it might take you 3 or more years before you can really be consistently profitable with it and make real money. Now, the positive side of it is that when the market is moving, when the market is trending, okay, so now I think I can maybe take it. Nope, not yet. I'm going to wait a little bit. Oh, that actually, it's right there. I might have missed it. Yeah. So I'm a little bit too on the edge there. So when I'm on the limit and I'm trying to get filled and they're not filling me, that's, you know, an indication that I might be on the right track here. I'm a little concerned, though, that now that it's already come down too far and that my risk reward isn't very good. So I have to have a small but nice setup. A small. I really feel like that things are getting a little out of control sometimes. Because I got like, when I bought the additional monitor and the light, I was like, okay, this is starting to get a little ridiculous. It's like when you come into the room and you look at it, you're like, what the hell is he doing in here? Yeah, look at that. That's unfortunate because that's a lot of points that I missed. Now it's the open. It's like, can you really take it there? Okay, so here's the icebergs again. So they may as of yet really puke here. I could maybe take that chance, but see See the iceberging? There's like, it took 1,700 contracts to break through there. That's a lot. So they hit that really easily, but they didn't result in a rush. So I don't actually like the way that I got triggered. No. There was a big offer though. Call my name bro. Joko Shugiharto. So something else is happening here in the Treasuries too. There's pretty equal volume on both sides. It does look like the Treasuries are going to move up though, which is positive for us over here. Assuming that the correlation follows the normal equity correlation that you typically have in markets and that we were seeing this morning. Okay, so here sellers are making a push. Let me just pull this over here so I can keep track of it, the position a little bit easier. Sucks because if I had taken it where I had originally wanted to, I would have already gotten one fill. Bullard's comments should end this rally. I agree with that one. So we got some really... okay. I was going to say, we got some really strong selling there, but then it's not really following through yet. But they just swept it back down really easily. That's interesting. See, but they're still having trouble right there. Like somebody's still holding the market. Goldman lowers year-end 10-year bond yield forecasts across major economies. Now sees 1.75%. So does that mean that they could go higher? What'd you got for me here, Swiss? Oh, geez, yeah. What you say? I understand what you were getting at there now, buddy. He's got like 20 DOMs up on his screen. You know, I really do. Sometimes I really do wish that I could throw up on here, you know, NQ, mini Dow, gold, oil, and maybe even some of the currencies, you know. But the truth is I don't really need them, and it would just be confusing to newer traders, which I think is the primary primary audience that I think we need to be aware of, I guess you could say. And so trying to keep it simple. I do think, though, if I ever get another 27-inch monitor, that I'm going to fit more than 6 charts over here. I do believe. Let's move this. From June to October trading, ZN at rollover, did you get like a 6-point difference for the spread? You know, I don't I'm not quite sure. So I don't really look at the calendar too much. Oh, well, but how do I have it? I don't think it was that big. I do believe though that there was a bit of a spread. Let me see here. How do I have my jigsaw set up? I forget where it is. Market data. Merge back adjusted. Merge non-back adjusted. Let's do that. In the 10-year. Okay, so you can see it right there. You see that little gap? So that was, I believe that was the I believe that was the rollover. But it's not 60 ticks. It's like 127 to 09 to 126.26. So it was less than a point. So it was less than 64 ticks. I'm too lazy to sit and do the math in my head. But yeah, it was a larger than usual rollover. But they went and closed that gap like right away, you know, which is I've found is the normal behavior for them. Okay, well, I don't really like what I'm seeing right now. I think that there could be plenty of reason for the E-mini to go down, but it's not really. They're pulling back, and they might reverse on me. Also, although the treasuries did start to show some buying, they got up to 29.5 and then fell back down. Oh, this reset because I reset my 10-year thing. That's why. Where was that at 12.5? Yeah, that's just the 32 tick out one. There's a robot that always adds about 1,500 32 ticks out, whether we tick up or down. Probably so that it just has a good spot in the queue in the future. Gasoline future shore as largest East Coast refinery set to permanently close. Okay, so I'm still not sure about this one. They're getting towards the lows, but the market orders is favoring the buyers. Okay. Well, if we could get a new low here with some buyers trapped, that would be great. There's a bit of an iceberging at 29.27 again. Also, the Treasury's not really panicking here. They're still relatively subdued. Okay, so now they're hitting into some icebergs at 29.28. Oof. That's aggressive. There's a very aggressive seller there in the E-mini. Okay, he pushed it into a new low. There's a few stops, but they didn't get a whole lot out of it, and it's back up. Yeah. So that was basically a stop run reversal, I'm wondering. I think it's time to get a long 2-year T after pullback. Something I should point out is that we're not really seeing very many clear indications of any big moves in spreads today. It's a Wednesday, so you would expect that we would maybe be able to get some good market action, but I'd say so far it hasn't been super great. The market definitely reversed for a bit there. Man. Stocks erase Minution ramp. Was it? Did they? Yeah, I guess they kind of did. They still never got back below. I would like to see them below 29.25, which I am not seeing. Well, that volume on the way back up was a lot. Like, to get 5,000 contracts long in that amount of time is a lot. It's kind of too much, frankly. So that must have been some short covering. So if that was short covering and they make it back down to lows again, that could be a real disaster. So I'm seeing some iceberging on the offer again. Definitely not today. I'm wait, it goes down. So I feel like here in the 10-year, it's been sitting here at 27.5 for a really long time now. Almost an hour. No, not an hour. 30 minutes. It's been about 30 minutes. During that time, I haven't seen really any real interest in pushing it down. There is the iceberg at 27.5. I don't know. I'd say the way that the equity index is acting is not healthy, but I can't say for sure if I should really stay in this trade or if I should get out at 29. So seller is hitting them pretty hard to push it down, but they're fighting him. Screen. Sorry. I keep doing that. What's wrong with me, guys? Bad, Seth. Bad. I apologize for whoever's looking at this in the future and missed a bit of order flow there. The seller. So you're seeing like, okay, so like right there, 150 trading. Okay, 200 and they broke through them. Okay, 200 at the next price too. See, and then he tries to push it lower. So it's like the sellers are spending a lot of contracts down here. Now at 29.29, the buyer shows up. So I would say the seller appears to me to be more aggressive, but he might not be bigger. Okay, see, 394, 400 at 29.25. They broke through it for a second and then it ticked back up. Treasuries, though, are not ticking up. In fact, they went lower there. Ron says he's holding short on the NQ. Oh, there you go. Okay, so they got below 29.29, and it looks like that the buyer may have given in because they were able to go several prices without much of anything trading, and they're ticking back up, and the seller is still there selling it at 29.2850. Well, and they got through him too. Kind of looking at the cumulative delta here, it looks like that they're going to want to go for another run short. They could possibly break the lows, but it's super tepid. If I was actually seeing some lift in the treasuries, then I would feel a lot more confident about this. Come on, little 5-year, help us out. Okay. Finally holding out 3.5. Nope. Yeah, the correlation simply following, says alligator. I think so. I wonder, it feels like we're having pretty interesting trading, but social media and chat is pretty quiet today. Seems like you guys are pretty focused on the market today. Was Donald Trump exhaust our, meme social interaction for the day? And the market is not acting like, doesn't seem to be acting like a Wednesday to me. Did that make a new low? It didn't make a new low. But look at the prints that they had to print to make those new lows. 200s and 400s. There's another 400 at 29.27. Well, now that we're here at lows and you're finally starting to get some cumulative delta short, there's about 5,000 contracts long and trapped. Wrong, please go down. It's shit, nothing really lives. That talking about the market action not being so great. How come I can see that comment on OBS but not on YouTube? Maybe it's because it got filtered out because you swore. It's okay. So I understand. What you were saying is a technical term. A totally appropriate use of profanity in that case, I think, in my opinion. In the proper trading vernacular, shit action is a specific definition. It means something specific. It's not just, profanity for the sake of profanity. He uses that. I understand what he's talking about. Iceberg is on both sides here at 29.27.50. Really interesting to me that equities fighting the way that it is, Treasuries and barely reacting to it at all. Like, can we even get an uptick to 27.5 bid? There was a good uptick in the 5-year. Wondering if we can test overnight lows in ZN? Trey asks. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what's going on here. Is the E-mini is going down. So that is giving us a little bit of buying in the 10-year. But overall, they don't think that the Federal Reserve is going to cut as aggressively as they were hoping. And so the Treasuries are overall moving down fundamentally. So then you get into the situation where both Treasuries and equities move down, which is very bad. And could get really fun for us. I can only hope. Okay, so you can see, I think that was, I really liked that one because that kind of shows where when you get a divergence between the cumulative delta and the price, that it indicates trapped traders, and you could see those trapped traders get washed out. And so that there it went, 5,000 contracts down in new lows. Trey says, yep, not much going on at all, but we'll see. It is Wednesday. I mean, I know it's the summer, but given all the stuff that happened Tuesday, I'm surprised that there's not more trading going on. So there's a little bit of a spurt of action in the 10-year buying at 27.5. Well, by the way, Ron, where are you looking for it to go? Are you looking for it to go towards the overnight lows? By the way, I don't need that. Don't need that. So this time at the lows, you're not seeing the same degree of volume trading at it in terms of people trying to hold price. I set a high target like all the way down. Oh, is there a 5-year auction today? Oh, there's John. Did you post your notes, John? Oh, we posted them way early. Downside targets 155.04. Oh, we're still not there yet. To 08, followed by a retest of 154.20. And he was favoring downside in the 30-year. Another new low. See, I'm not sure. Part of me wants to say maybe we should just take a profit. Because it's just not really going down as quickly as I want. Maybe I'm just being really impatient, you know? Maybe they just need to continue to squeeze it slow and steady and we could get a move to the low. The overnight low at what, 29.18. Anyways, I think maybe my calibration, you know, my emotional calibrations for market action are maybe off kilter a little bit because we had so much crazy stuff happen in the afternoon yesterday. And so I'm all looking for something crazy to happen when, you know, we're getting a pretty reasonably good downtrend. We should be happy with that. What's your target on MES? So my auto target is 29.2250. I really think it could go for a lot further than that, though. Like I think that 29.22 is a good spot. Don't get me wrong. But I also think that like 29.14 below us I think that there's a really good chance that they're going to try and stretch for that. 29.14 would be a really good spot to look at and maybe take profits. And then below that, 29.04. If things really started to pick up, you could get 29.04, 28.88. I guess I should move this. Keep it to a place where I can see it at least. But this one is just the automatic one. You know, I can move it. Probably I should move it to 19. But we'll move it when we get closer. I think I'm also, saying I think that my calibrations are off kilter, but I think another thing that's going on is I'm a little uneasy that the E-mini is not moving up. I think I have a good explanation for why it's not moving up, but who's to say? Who's to say if that's what's really going on? They haven't given us a really clear tell. 29.23 was night big area zone. Right, because that was where they were kind of messing around before Mnuchin's headline came out. This move down in the E-mini has been a real grinder, hasn't it? Okay, so I'm just detected a little move in the 6J there. Oh no, sorry, that was gold. I think that we might be getting some dollar weakness coming in. Treasury down ticks again. And a little bit of ice breaking on the offer at 27. It seems like when the E-mini ticks, it does it too easily again. Okay, there's a biggie right there. Was that 29, 25, 50? But then we pushed lower through him. Okay. The 10-year finally upticked at 27. They're still having trouble holding that. I don't know. I think I would have a really hard time buying the 10-year here at 27. maybe that means that's where we should be doing it, but I don't know. They just, it seems like they don't want to stop. Okay, so I am seeing a little bit of support now around 29.25. I'm seeing some headlines about Bitcoin. They're about where they were, 12,840. Okay, still going. Slow mover, man. This is an odd move for the equity indexes, guys. This is the way that the 10-year moves. This isn't the way that the E-mini moves. Like a slow-moving freight train slowly rolling down the hill. You know? You can just never tell when it's going to stop. The birds are awake, apparently. Another 5-4 decision with Gorsuch joining the Liberals, this time ruling that a law permitting judges to extend the length of certain sentences without a jury finding fact first violates the 5th and 6th Amendments. I think I would have to agree with that one. I think that's true to Gorsuch, too. Him doing what he would be saying or should be doing. Okay. No. That was a pretty strong buy impulse there in the E-mini. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a big deal, but that kind of... Now let's see if it hits my take profit stop or not. You're getting off like close. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Following the Advanced Trade Durable Goods and Business Inventories reports, our quarter 2 GDP tracking estimate rose 0.1 to 1.5%. Look at the treasuries. They're still going down. I really don't think that this is good for equities, but... Well, it is now 8:30, and I took my profit on my third trade. And 3 a day is probably the most I want to do unless things are getting good. Was an ETF actually approved? No, it was not. Haven't seen anything about an ETF being approved yet. Let's look. They're accepting public comments on ETF. Haven't we been through that before? Like they did the public comments on it, it went through the whole thing, and then nothing ever happened. I'm pretty sure that's not an important thing. They are at 13K though. When I was looking at it, well, I think we already talked about this, but when I was looking at it, it seemed like that last move above 9K kind of brought in a lot more market interests, per se. So I'm going to be so mad if this goes down and makes another new low, but whatever. I did what I was supposed to do. So if when you get that retail spike, there's usually a move after it. Usually a move that follows it. So I'm not surprised that they got to 12.5. Above 12.5, then we're getting back again into this is nuts, this is crazy. So again, I would have to say no momentum can carry it pretty far, and it's almost impossible to know how far the momentum is going to carry it, but your risk reward is just not good. Because let's just say that you take it at the next high. Well, I guess if you got the new high, then maybe you'd be okay. You're talking about like a 75% gain versus an 80% loss, you know? Have a hard time. By the way, are you hearing like background noise now? Because I'm looking at my microphone and it's just kind of like bobbling. Oh, okay, I guess we're okay. Maybe that's the sound of me kicking the desk. Yeah, anyways, I don't know. I only look at headlines. The only thing that I look at headlines for in Bitcoin is like to try and see when they're really trying to push it. Because I've noticed that when you get the most headlines is usually where it turns. Like when the headlines are really, really bearish and it just seems awful and everybody says, why did it go down so much today? Oh, well, there was this awful headline and this awful headline. And then it'll flip around, and then the next week it's like nobody cares about those headlines anymore. It's like only speculators care about the headlines, dude. Okay, the Treasuries sure fell out there. But equities came back quite a bit too. Well, let's see if I haven't run my Bitcoin thing yet today. Let me see if did it give us a new data point? The thing is you could still get to 250. Where would 250 be? That is the problem, is no one seems to know why it's going up. Well, I can tell you why it's going up. It's because people are buying it with Tether. Now, where the Tether is coming from is still kind of the big question. You know, are there that many institutional people that are getting in? I don't think if I was a US institution, I don't think that I would buy it with Tether. Because here's the problem. How do you get out? You know? Are you really going to turn it back into Tether and then go back to them and try and pull it out like that? I mean, if you're like a really big institution, that's kind of a big question. If I was an institution, I would feel much more comfortable just being able to trade it on Coinbase and trade it directly into dollars, you know? But if, you know, we don't even know if all of that is backed. I would hope that they're not doing that anymore. But the point is there's no way for us to really know, right? But because of that, I actually suspect that this is more, it's not institutions, but rich people. Like this idea that maybe people in China are trying to get their money out of China or are trying to hedge themselves. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. There's no way to really prove that. There's just not enough information available for us to know why it's going. Okay, so it did not give me one. The last data point that it gave me was on the 22nd. So that means that we're still at 170. We're still at 63. 63 times 200 is 1260. 63 times 250 is 15K. So I suppose that 15K is possible. And the way that it's moving, man, it could happen before the end of the week. I'd take a Shalon word for it. I don't know anything about Bitcoin. Well, but that's the thing, Uzi. This is the thing that drives me nuts about Bitcoin, is that he doesn't know shit about it either. He just thinks he does because he bought and it went up. You know, there was a lot of people that thought the same thing when it was going down, and they thought, oh, 6K is great. And then it went down to 3 and they puked. You know, I've just like that's the scary thing is when he says nobody knows why it's going up. Then why are you buying it? What the hell? Sorry, guys. I understand momentum is a thing. Sure, momentum is a thing. But momentum is a double-edged sword, because if you have a move that is based primarily on momentum, then that means that the reason people are buying it is because people are buying it. And when people stop buying it, they don't have a reason to buy it anymore. In fact, they have a reason to sell it. And so then it turns on its head. Now people are selling it. And why are people selling it? Because people are selling it. Other people are selling it, so I'm selling it. And all of those people that buy try and get out all at once. And you can see this has been a very quick move. This has been a very, very quick move, right? So if we have a bubble pop, it's going to be fast. Can we really just brush off what he's saying? So this one about what was the second one that he talked about? Swift. So my recollection was that that Swift is another sidechain, right? It looks like chaos if you don't know what's going on. I don't know. I would need to see a much longer historical record than this past one swing to convince me that you know what's going on. So my understanding is that Swift was like a sidechain, and the ETF thing, I think you can't trade off of that yet, because there's so many cases where we've had a move where people were saying it's because there's going to be a Bitcoin ETF and then they're all disappointed, you know? And just because they're taking comments on it doesn't mean that they're going to do it. They could just shelve it again. And especially, I honestly, given what we've learned about Tether in the past, 2 months? This is not a side. It's not. We're talking about something that's not Bitcoin blockchain, though, right? Anyways, yeah. The last time that they did the ETF, they were taking comments on it, and then they delayed it, and then they delayed it, and then it never happened. And I don't think that they're more likely to pick up the ETF now than they were a year ago, or December, I guess it was. Because, really, why would they approve it now with what we know about Tether and the suspicion that Tether is not backed, especially when we look at this move and it's almost 100% from Tether. When you look at the volume, we don't know where the Tether comes from, but we know that people are buying from Tether. When you look at the exchanges by volume, the vast majority of the volume is Tether. Vast majority of the buying is Tether. If Bitcoin was the one that was pushing the huge volume, then I would feel differently about it. If people were moving into altcoins and altcoins were moving up too, I'd feel differently about it. That's another thing. So the altcoins not following is incredibly bizarre, right? This move up is very different from the ones in the past in Bitcoin. But it's fine. Like I said, I don't think that the risk reward is worth it. So I can't say that it's not going to go higher or anything. I can only say that I'm not going to buy in right now. I'm going to wait for this bubble to pop and it give me a good risk reward proposition. And if altcoins don't go up and it does that, I would actually be really happy about it. So, I don't know. The stuff he's talking about is more fundamental value stuff than should I make a day trade stuff. Well, I'm my stuff is really on a monthly basis sort of a trade, you know? I don't know. Anyways, my larger point though, Uzi, was you've got to be really careful with headlines in Bitcoin, man. Because they 100%, no joke. I mean, I say I 100% believe this. Even though this is not one that we can really prove, so I guess it is a conspiracy theory. But whales 100% manipulate the news to try and push Bitcoin. So when you're seeing a lot of really good headlines, yeah, I'm just trying to be fair. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But no, when you start to see a lot of really good headlines in Bitcoin, that's usually when it tops. So let me look here on what is on r/BTC. They're kind of the that subreddit was created because they felt that Bitcoin subreddit was being censored, and a lot of those guys favor Bitcoin Cash, so they're a little bit biased. But top thing that I see: conspiracy theory institutionalized. Merrill Lynch, Bank of America traders busted, manipulating precious metals prices by placing fraudulent futures contracts orders that they intended to cancel before execution. Ooh, okay. Not really relevant to Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin really untethered? Academic research on how Tether is used to pump Bitcoin. Is this... they have been... hugged to death. If I visit that link, I don't get anything. Hugged to death. So I can't read that. That sounds like a headline I've heard before. I'm not going to buy it. Here's the thing, Shalom. It doesn't matter. There is only one thing, Shalom, that will ever get me to buy Bitcoin. And I don't care if it goes to 50K or 100K, because that's not my strategy. And if I just buying it because it's going up, then I'm just gambling, right? There's only one thing that will cause me to buy it. And that one thing is that little blue line goes to 50. If that little blue line is at 50, then I will buy it with everything that I have quite aggressively. Okay? But until that happens, who cares? It's up. Good deal. Don't care. It's in a bubble. My theory is, when it's over here, it's in a bubble. Why you want to buy into a bubble? It's your money. Bum bum bum. Placing orders they didn't intend to execute. You mean like the entire order book and everything? Right? Those stories are always kind of interesting because, the Bitcoin folks are a little bit different, but most people don't even know what that means. Of course, we look at it and we're like, oh, okay, yeah. That's naughty. You shouldn't do that. Donald Trump tweeting here. Women's soccer. M. Pinoy just stated that she's not going to the effing White House if we win. Other than the NBA, which now refuses to call owners, please explain that I just got criminal justice reform passed. Black employment is at the lowest level in our country's history, and the poverty index is the best number ever. Leagues and teams love coming to the White House. I'm a big fan of the American team and women's soccer, but Megan should win first before she talks. Finish the job. We haven't yet invited Megan or the team, but I am now inviting the team, win or lose. Megan should never disrespect our country, the White House, or our flag, especially since so much has been done for her and the team. Be proud of the flag you wear. The USA is doing great. Wow, that's actually an interesting an interesting tactic from him. But to go in and say, well, you're invited whether you win or not, but you really shouldn't be saying anything until you win. It really is. That is really hubris. I mean, in all likelihood, the women's team is going to win. They always do. Right? But that's interesting that he decided to tweet about that. This move right here in the equities, we came up and now we're just kind of sitting here and going flat again. Perhaps a reason to sell it, but I don't think that I should be taking any more trades. So what were we also going to do? What did Swisso say? Oh, okay. Here he's got all those who buy cryptos are stupid. They support the plan of the Fed to abolish the cash. Wait, only if enough people have bought cryptos, the Fed and the tax office will be happy, just like when gold was banned in 1933, the state was happy. Everything is repeated. Only people forget everything when they see fast money. Yeah, well, man. I have mixed feelings about what you just said there, Swisso. Because on one hand, it kind of sounds conspiracy theory-ish to me. And I'm kind of like, no, it's more complicated. That just sounds like, okay, like the whole idea that the government banned gold. I'm just not a fan of the gold standard, you know? So like they banned gold because now they can do whatever they want. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. Because gold was a poor thing to base your money on. Your money needs to be based on something that you have control over. I think that having a board involved in it and being able to adjust things, I think that that's the way you got to do it. Because otherwise, you're putting your economy at risk of market manipulation or what other countries are doing. Oh, do you see that spread going through there? They were selling the 5-year and buying the 10. Sorry, what did I miss there? They forget everything when they see fast money just like you. Oh, they have no clue just like you. Well, okay, Shalom. If you think that I have no clue, then why do you come here? Just quite frankly, I have a strategy. Here's the thing that bothers me about it. And when you say things like that, then you have to put up or shut up, right? We've done this before. You have to put up or shut up. I have an indicator that has a historical positive expectancy. Not only does it have a historical positive expectancy, but I've been using it to trade for the past 2 years. And granted, that's not a whole lot of trades in the past 2 years, but I've been using it to trade in the past 2 years. And it's done extremely well. I caught a really good move from 6K to 10K. Everybody was really confused when it failed 10K. They were really confused when it failed 6K. I got it right. Okay. And I got the top right in 2017. And now this one, okay, it's moving up. If we make a new high, then I would say that the indicator was wrong. But right now, I have a really hard time seeing it making a new high unless a lot more blockchain comes in. But we'll see. It's doing something different. That doesn't necessarily mean that the indicator is wrong. It just means that you don't get an entry on the signal, right? So that's cool. It moves up and you miss it. That happens sometimes, okay? But it has a positive expectancy. I've made thousands of dollars on it, okay? What is it that you've done that says that what you are saying has a positive expectancy? Okay, you bought it one time. So fucking what? Show me a record of 5 or the whole history of Bitcoin, your strategy, what you use when you buy it, when you sell it, that shows that you're actually good at telling that it's going to go further and that you can actually sell when it gets up to the top and you don't just hold and lose it all, right? That's what I'm saying. So if you want to say you know what's going on, then show me stats. Show me your trades. I can show you that chart. You look at that chart. Those are the entries and exits. You know what I mean? Chain yanker. Well, that's how I feel. It's like I'm okay with somebody coming in and saying, I know what I feel like really confident in my trading strategy. And here's how it works, and here's the trades that I take. And they don't even necessarily have to say how it works, but they can just come in and they can say, hey, I'm buying it right now because X, Y, and Z, right? And I don't care. Because that's, I'm like laissez-faire about all this, right? People can say what they want. It's cool. We can talk about it. That's fine. That's a lot of the fun of it, right? I like to argue with people. People say something I agree with. People say something I disagree with. I want y'all to be able to be heard, even if I disagree with it. All right? But when you come in and you say, I know more than X person, you have to prove that. You have to show the stats and say, look, I did this, and here is a historical record of what I've done that shows that I know what I'm doing. You can't just come in and be all tough. And that person, I'm telling you, how many times have we seen that happen here in this room? We've been doing this now for almost 2 years, right? Remember, how many times have we seen that? I remember that guy that came in and he was like saying that sort of a thing. And then like the next fucking day, he was taking some swing trade long and the Treasuries just got absolutely creamed and went down like a whole point. And he held it through the whole thing. And we never heard from that guy again. He was like doing a trading room with it. Nobody ever heard from that guy again. Right? Anytime that somebody comes in and does something like that, and then they refuse to actually show their results, they're full of shit and they disappear and they usually lose money. If that's what you're doing, you think you know what you're doing, but you can't actually prove it to us, with a historical record, probably because you don't have enough of a historical record to show, then you are falling into a real bad mental trap. Okay. You think you know more than you actually know. You don't know the limits of your strategy, and Bitcoin is going to top off, and you're going to be a part of the 80% of people that lose money in that move. I see bids below pull me, and I'm fucking out of there. Are they trying to pull it down in the 30-year? This move, I ain't waiting for a full point. Oh, you're talking about that guy that took that trade. Yeah, that was when I saw that. Oh my gosh. That happened to another guy. Guy came in. He said, he posted something, it was like a really vague picture, right? I looked at it and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So some people will try and come in and post something to make it seem like they know what they're talking about. And then it's actually vague enough so that whether it goes up or down, they can say, oh, see, I was right. When actually they didn't make any kind of real prediction, right? Because then at that point, then you have to start saying, when did you get in? Where were you going to buy and where were you going to get out and why, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Otherwise, you're just kind of saying, oh, it's going to go up. And if it even goes up a point in that time period, then you can say you were right when you really weren't, right? But this guy, he comes in and he says, no, I think I'm going to go, like, post a vague thing here. And I was like, well, I'm going to go short. And he's like, oh, you're going to be wrong. And then it was a trend day up. That was one of my best days. I'm at a 5-tick max loss and I start freaking after one. Yeah, Uzi, no, I don't even know. Like that whole thing is mind bending to me thinking back on it. I don't even remember the guy's name. I don't know if any of you guys even remember that because it was fairly early on. But this guy, he acted like he really knew what was going on. And he even started a room. And he had even talked to some people. So some people that were here in the chat, knew where his room was and were watching it. And that's how I knew that this happened. So he had a move against him. And it moved like 8 ticks against him in CB, I think. And he was like, oh, that's okay. It's possible that it can go that far against me. So he bought another contract and he walked away. And then it went a point. It went a fucking point. And then he disappeared. Nobody ever heard from him again. But the whole point of that is hubris. Hubris. Anytime that I get hubris, it kills me, doesn't it? We've seen that many times. Whereas, have a really good winner and then I don't take it like I should. I've done that many times. You just, he martingale it. Yeah. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even making this stuff. I don't know what keywords you could go to search for it, but if you went back into Discord and you went far enough back, you would actually find the screenshot. Not even kidding. But I don't know around what time it happened or what the guy's name was. Otherwise, we'd be able to go back and find it. Or we could go back and find the day and we could find when I was streaming and we could find the video where we talked about it and we showed it. So, man. But crazy, right? Who knows if he was using real money or not. What was this comment I missed right here? Oh, he has predicted the end of the world 3 times. I'm down 10 grand. Well, that's not enough. I want to be down 50, right? I think that the person that was doing that probably wasn't very experienced. Because I think almost everybody knows that averaging into a trade is certainly a thing. Okay? I can say, I want to buy at 24 and I want to buy at 35 half. Part of I would not recommend doing that if you don't have to. I think you do that because you're a big boy and there's no way that you're going to get everything that you want filled at one price. Like once you're starting to talk about, 500,000, multiple thousand lots, you're going to have to buy it at multiple prices, right? So then averaging in is a thing. But it's not, statistically speaking, it always works against you. The averaging into something always works against you, because if it ends up being a loser, you get such a big loser that it totally cancels out what you would have won. So averaging in does not work. Frankly, averaging out can decrease your probability, but it depends on how often you actually get an outsized winner. I've never had the money to do that. I can do it in Sim, but the Sim account has as much money in it as I want. Right, exactly. Anyways, Jesse Livermore says, never average losers. Which means you buy it and it moves up and then you can buy some more. But if you buy it and it goes down to your stop or whatever, and then you buy more, that's no. Or it moves down like the average range, moves down 2 to 4 ticks, and then you buy more. No, you're going to lose. You're going to lose doing that. And that's what that guy tried to do. He tried to average a loser. And I just think anybody that's day trading knows it eventually has to learn that lesson. You just don't do it. It's just not a good idea. Yeah, even in averaging, you have to know when to cut your shit. Yeah. Anyways. So yeah, he was, maybe he was just BSing us, or maybe he was just genuinely hubris. But, when I see that sort of a thing, it concerns me. That's why so many retail traders swear against it. The thing you average ad infinitum, and that ain't it. You got to have your plan worked out ahead of time. Yeah, well, that's the thing to me is the question is, okay, you're going to average in. Your strategy is you're going to average in to a loser. Why? What is the reason that you want to do that? I think that the reason that most retail traders is going to do that is because they don't want to take a loss. And they're hoping that if they average in a little bit lower and then it gets above their original entry, then they make more. Right? But then when it doesn't do that and it goes down, you just double your loss. Yep, there's 03. That was the target for JB, wasn't it? Emini is still kind of doing not much of anything. I think it's probably best that I didn't trade it. And, well, and I followed my rules too. But anyways, I wish that I had gotten 40 or 50 off of that trade, but I think I did what I was supposed to do. Yeah, so anyways, it's just, I think that the reason you average into a trade is because you have no choice. You know what I mean? Because if you thought that there was a possibility that it was going to go lower, then why didn't you just wait for the, and get filled down there on both contracts? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's for day trading. You really don't want to average it in unless you have to, and you really don't want to average into losers. Bum, bum, bum. Good job, Uzi. I mean, if you held the short through all of that, bravo. So here's a question. When we were at 27, when we first started at 27 and it was there forever and ever and ever, were you already short? And if so, why did you hold it? Because I would have gotten really frustrated with that and just ditched it. Oh, no, I didn't. I ain't that self-aware. Oh. I'm kind of thinking back on this because I remember when we were at 27 and I was saying, well, here's a potential spot to buy it, but I would have a really hard time buying it because it just doesn't seem like they want to buy. It didn't occur to me at the time to say, well, maybe that means I should go short. And then when it fell through it didn't, at that point I didn't really care anymore. But I wish that I had been thinking about it and saying, well, let's go short. But at that time, there's, just seemed dead to me. There was no way that I would have known that it was going to go as far as it did. It looks like they're getting a little bit more of a bounce here now, though. Okay, so now that I've gone on a huge, long rant, I bought the valve for Vortex, and that was it. Sometimes I look at things and they make sense, but doubt myself, so I don't make the smart move. Well, I don't know. You can definitely hold those CB trades for a long time, can't you? But how could we have known? I don't know. The thing is when you look at the volume on it, look at the Vista chart. It's just like flat volume. It just kind of moved on its own. Almost impossible to know what that's going to do. What is this? Somebody calling me? No thanks. Who would call me? Then I don't have their number in it. Probably spam. Okay, so I want to keep talking so bad. I think I got myself I think I got a little bit too much of a high from going on that little rant there. Sometimes when I go on rants like that, though, it's like really good for me. Like I do really well after that sometimes. Sometimes I also go on those when I'm doing poorly, though. Oh, the rejection of the value high up there before it tanked should have had me selling, but I doubted myself. Okay. Well, anyways, so I am going to try and put the stream up. So I will, all of the same notifications will go out when I go live tonight for the debate. I hope. I'm pretty sure that I should be able to watch it through NBC Online, but I won't be able to stream it out to you guys. So that'll be weird, but we can still have fun with it. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys tonight. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends. And yeah, we'll see you then.